As Dana said, my name is Jeff. I'm a sales engineer for Parallels. I've been with the company just under 4 years, working exclusively in their server cloud portion of the business. I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of our products today called Parallels Remote Application Server, or we just commonly call it RAS. So what is RAS? RAS is a management and delivery solution for remote access to Windows apps and desktops. There's a lot of products on the market right now that have that similar use case. You're probably familiar with workspaces through Citrix or VMware Horizon or now Broadcom, Alnissa Horizon, right? Microsoft AVD, Azure or Amazon App Streaming, right? These are all remote access platforms for people to be able to sit down at their laptop, to be able to sit down at their desk and connect to an application suite or to maybe a desktop that's sitting somewhere else. And RAS falls right into that same uh, bundle of products. Where we stand out a little bit, and we have a few key points that make our product a little bit different. One of the first one is the licensing of our product. A lot of products have very complicated licensing schemes. You have to pay extra for additional features. Different hosting platforms can add additional cost. For RAS, we really look at one metric to determine what your licensing needs are, and that's how many unique concurrent connections are made to the environment at the same time. So if you have 500 employees and maybe 350 are connected at any point in time, you would need essentially 350 licenses. It is a 100% concurrent model. It's not tied to any individual user or any specific device. So as those users disconnect and new users connect, that same licensing model applies to those new users as well. That makes it really easy from a budgeting perspective. If you have growth in the company, 10% growth, you can guess about 10% growth in your concurrent connections as well if they're going to use the environment. And like I said, we don't have different editions of the product. We don't have any paywalls in the product. Once you have a license for the product, you have everything that Parallels RAS has to offer. We don't have a core edition or an education edition or charge extra for additional features like cloud hosting. Any license allows you to have the full product and all of the features that the product has. It includes 24/7 support. All the minor and major software updates are included, so you can always stay current with your environment. Flexibility in platform architectures is really kind of a namesake for Parallels RAS. You can have on-prem components, host some things hosted in the cloud. You can even have hybrid environments or multi-cloud environments all running the same product. And again, under that same licensing model. You have access to any Windows host, whether it's a multi-session host, like the terminal services model, that we might all be used to, or even AVD multi-session, or standard single-session Windows hosts like Windows 10 or 11, whether they're virtual desktops or virtual machines or physical machines. So things like being able to work from home and connect to a virtual infrastructure is part of what RAS does. We also provide access to the physical machines in the office too. So we got pretty popular when the pandemic hit us a couple of years ago because people suddenly needed to get home and work from home for 30 or 60 days at a time, and they weren't provisioned for that. So it's very easy to use RAS to connect to those physical desktops in the office or those physical resources just as easily as a VDI platform. Some of the other features that the product has is we support load balancing from the connections coming in. If you have load balancing solutions today, we easily sit behind a lot of load balancing solutions. We also have a load balancing appliance that comes as part of the product if that fits into your solution. And all of the workload balancing, all of the users connecting to these hosts where these Windows apps and desktops are running is easily distributed and flexible. Um, we have a very flexible topology, so you can build in fault tolerance, high availability, disaster recovery scenarios, additional capacity, growth and scaling. Things like that are very easy to plan for because the product is very flexible for deployments. And we'll take a look at that in just a second. Our universal printing and scanning feature is really popular because it doesn't require any administrative configuration. So printers that people might have at their home office, they're sitting at a laptop at their desk connected to a color printer that they print their birthday cards and things on. that printer will follow them right into the working session without any configuration by the administrator. So it's very easy to set up. It doesn't require you to download drivers and try and navigate this complex host infrastructure to figure out what machines can connect with what printers. So universal printing and scanning is a very popular solution. We do have some VDI advanced capabilities such as template management, cloning, auto population of host pools, and scaling options built into the product. All the access is secure. We use PKI encryption for everything. So certificates are used to make sure that all the uh, connections are encrypted, and all of our services talk to each other through encrypted protocols. And of course, the underlying application or desktop session is also encrypted. So it's a very secure product, and a lot of people actually come to our product to remove dependency on VPNs, for example. All of this sounds pretty exciting, but one thing we really like to tout is that we focus on a simplified deployment of the solution and a very simple day-to-day administration of the product. And we'll take a look at some of those options in just a second. But even with all this complexity and the flexibility for all these topologies and some of the more advanced features, it's a strong goal of ours to make sure that it's easy to deploy and easy to maintain. We also focus on the user experience. We try to upscale the user experience so that it's not just another remote access tool. It's not just another Microsoft Remote Desktop client or another team viewer. We do try to enhance that user experience and add some additional features to make drag and drop more seamless to support various devices. And we have native clients for as much seamless access as we can get on Windows, Linux, Mac OS, iOS tablets and phones, as well as Android tablets and phones, and an ever-changing Chrome OS ecosystem as well. So we had a dedicated app, and we're moving and keeping up with the Google platform as they shift their Chromebook